Elizabeth Shepard is a classical pianist who came to jazz through her love of old school hip hop. Elizabeth has been hailed as a jazz virtuoso blessed with a pop sensibility. And she's praised by critics worldwide for her arrestingly original writing and soulful delivery. She is among the new wave of jazz-influenced musicians bringing the art form to a younger generation of music fans. This 6-time Juno nominee and 2-time Polaris Prize nominee has released her 8th album called Three Things, which debuts at number 11 this week. It's a hybrid of soulful sounds and synth-based electronica created during lockdown. It is an ode to life, joy, and resilience. And it's Elizabeth's catchiest and most hip work to date. And thankfully, we have Elizabeth on the line now. Hi, how are you?
Hi there. I'm great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much for being on the show today. You just played a gig last Saturday at the Yardbird Suite. How did it go?
Oh, it was great. I mean, the Yardbird is a gem of a place. We all love it. I think it was the first time I'd been back in 5 years. And so I wasn't really sure. Some venues have had trouble getting back up and running post-pandemic, but it was, as always, just a great vibe. I loved seeing so many different ages there too. Sometimes the jazz clubs, you get a certain demographic, but it was just really broad. And I find that just really cool to be able to play to lots of different people because in life, I'm surrounded by lots of different people. So it's
Yeah.
nice to see that reflected in the audience too.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And who was traveling with you in your band?
So I had Rémi-Jean Leblanc on bass and Michael Acapinti on guitar, Kevin Warren on drums. They were all on the album, although I think we never actually all got together in one place at the
Right.
same time
Yeah,
to record.
of course. Wow. And those are some heavy names. It's really, really cool. So your album is called Three Things. What are the three
Yeah.
things?
The one thing that I do sort of talk about in reference to this album is it's a bit of a gospel album. And I don't mean stylistically, just in terms of a spiritual undertone. So the three things are faith, hope, and love. And then the greatest one being love. And it's a bit of a theme that I wanted, that I reconnected with during the pandemic, sort of getting back. I grew up in the Salvation Army. And so have like deep religious roots and took a lot of space from that and then have come back to spirituality in my own way and wanted to sort of honor that because it was something that really kind of kept me going through the pandemic.
Yeah, definitely. You kind of speak of this theme of resilience. What are some of the things that were some of your like questions during the pandemic or, during your times when you needed to rely on the three things?
I think the biggest one was seeing all the division that was happening as people became really polarized and going into camps.
Mm,
And I felt like I was caught in the middle. Like I understood so much of both sides, and specifically in reference to the pandemic. I mean, even before the whole vaccine debate and everything got really charged, the world, it felt like it was really spiraling. And it just felt like everything was becoming very divided. And I had some friends who, opted not to get the vaccine. And I was like, we can still be friends. Like I did get
yeah.
the vaccine. This is not an issue to me, but just seeing how it was very, just became full of vitriol so fast. And I felt like, man, something about this is just not right with me. Like we need to be able to surround ourselves with people who think drastically different from us and be okay with that and be like, see the commonality and actually be able to talk things through in a measured, respectful kind of way. And that was one place that I really noticed that we were able to do that was at my church. And I felt like there's so many people here from so many walks of life and
Yeah.
with so many different points of view. And it just felt like this is a place where it's okay. Like we don't have to agree. Ironically, because I feel like religion is often viewed as a place that's very
Black and white.
unbending. Yeah, black and white, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was kind of a big one.
Yeah. Yeah, that is a big one. But yeah, very beautiful. And I think the pandemic was really hard on everybody, definitely hard on musicians. And I think, there were a lot of gifts within being able to step back and look at things differently. And there's so many artists who just sat down and created, which I think is really
Mm,
beautiful.
yeah.
So thank you for doing that.
It kept me sane, honestly. It was
Yeah.
like, what do I do? Do I quit music altogether? Like it just felt
Hmm.
like when are things going to open again? It just dragged on and on and our industry was the first to shut down, the last to open. It was
Yeah,
just,
exactly.
yeah.
I have one last question. I'd love to play a track from your new album. Can you choose one and tell our listeners a little bit about it?
Yeah, I think I would say Call Up My Scene, because it ties in exact. It's all about, like, the hook is don't choose folks like you. And it's really this idea of like just
Mm.
try and surround yourself with different people, and get to hear lots of different perspectives and see the world differently. And because in Quebec we had a lockdown, right? But we
Hmm.
also had a curfew. And so we couldn't get together with anyone for a good long while there. And so one way that I stayed sane and collaborative was collaborating with sounds. So this one features my typewriter, and that was like the basis for the song.
Cool. I love that. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Don.
Yeah. Wow. You're so awesome. It's a pleasure. I do hope that you are making your way through Alberta and BC again. It'd be great to
Yes,
hear you play.
totally.
Yes. All right. From the album Three Things, which debuts at number 11 this week, this is Elizabeth Shepard and Call Up My Scene.